At the end of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 5, we finally discovered the Shinju's true goal. Due to Code enhancing the claw grinds with his Shinjutsu, the Shinju are rapidly evolving into greater beings, soon to rival even the power of someone like Ishiki Otsutsuki. Now, as most of you know, in Chapter 5 the Shinju have made it clear as to who they are targeting, but if you don't know, I'll briefly go over the targets. It was first stated that Matsuri, who is the claw grind version of Moegi, wants to devour Konohamaru. Buggy, I mean, that's gonna be his name until we find out his real name. His name is Buggy, alright? So Buggy, who is the claw grind version of Bug, wants to devour Ada. Hidari, who would be Sasuke in this instance, wishes to devour Sarada. And finally, Jura, who is still unknown as of the time this video is being made, wants to devour Naruto. If you're interested in hearing me analyze who Jura could possibly be based on the knowledge we already have, then click the video in the top right. Trust me, I think you'll definitely agree with me on this one. But let's get back on track. For this video, I'm going to go over the potential matchups and the fights we can hope to see based on the Shinju's respective targets, and see how much of a chance they have to take down the Shinju. And since none of the Shinju is targeting Boruto specifically, I can use him as sort of a wild card here if needed. But it'll be kinda unfair if I include him in every fight, especially the weaker Shinju such as Matsuri and Buggy. So for this video, I'll only include him in the fight against Hidari and Jura, just to make things fair. And these are the two fights I can legit see him participating in anyway, so I guess we'll go with that for now. Okay, so let's quickly go over the matchups real quick. So let's start with Buggy versus Ada. Ada isn't really a fighter. She even thinks the thought of violence is grotesque. She often referred to Daemon as her prince, and throughout the final chapters of Boruto Part 1, Daemon has shown us that he'll do whatever it takes to protect his sister. All it takes is her just saying his name, he'll do whatever she says. So of course this sets up a Daemon versus Buggy fight. Similar case with Jura and Naruto. Of course Naruto can't fight because of him being sealed in the Daikokuten dimension, so this naturally sets up a fight between Kawaki versus Jura. With Hidari versus Sarada, I can see this fight going two ways. I can see it being a solo fight between Sarada and Hidari, or a 2v1 situation with Boruto teaming up with Sarada. Then we have Konohamaru versus Matsuri. I'm almost certain this won't be a 1v1 battle unless Konohamaru just pulls out a new technique or transformation we have never seen before. But from what we've seen so far, Konohamaru hasn't shown any potential to be able to go up against foes of Otsutsuki like power. So I might have the entirety of Team 10 help him in this fight, as in this scene right here definitely foreshadows a potential 4v1 showdown with Team 10 versus their sensei. Okay, so now that we got the matchups down, I think I'll start with the matchup I think is the easiest to analyze, and that's gonna be Daemon versus Buggy. I may have joked in the past about Daemon absolutely demolishing Buggy if he as much as even looked in Ada's direction, but I don't necessarily think this will be an easy matchup for him. The reason I said this matchup will be the easiest to analyze is because we've seen both of these dudes in action. So instead of going off pure speculation, we actually have some solid evidence to go off of. So Daemon's main ability is Reflection. He can instantly turn an opponent's attack against them. His ability is so powerful that the mere mental image of the killing scene is enough to trigger a reflection. However, the person has to have the intent of harming or unaliving him. The thing that has me worried about this fight is, okay, let's say Buggy just outright starts blitzing Ada. Daemon would probably just try to counter by touching Buggy to reflect any attack he throws at her. The thing about Daemon is that he can actually reflect any attack, but the only attacks that are automatically reflected is the ones with mental intent behind it. The ability is so overpowered because most humans cannot attack someone without mentally wanting to harm them. Because even though our body is moving, to choose to attack someone or something that is a precognitive action requires some type of thinking. Jura stated that his feeling of wanting to devour Naruto was an instinctive desire. Unfortunately, this will be the case for all of the claw grinds. This statement right here implies that Daemon's ability actually wouldn't work on Buggy because he wouldn't have any cognitive intention of actually devouring Ada. It would be purely off instinct. Newborn babies aren't taught how to eat. They instinctively know how to do certain things without even thinking about it. They cry when they want something. When they have to use the bathroom, they just go. You see what I'm saying? So with Buggy having no intent to harm Ada but only having an instinct means Daemon's primary ability wouldn't work. Now he could still reflect attacks if he physically touches you, but this wouldn't be that much easier either. Since all the Claw Grimes have Code Shinjutsu, they can just teleport to different locations to avoid Daemon touching him. Coincidentally, there was an exact moment that this scenario happened with Amato, Daemon, and Code. Code was trying to unalive Amato, but Ada wanted him alive, so she sent Daemon after Code to stop him. Not only was Code unable to get close to Amato, but his attack was reflected multiple times because of Daemon touching him. But all this says to me is that Buggy is just that much faster than No Limit Code was. During Code and Daemon's battle, he was able to not only outspeed Code, but counter with devastating blows. So yes, while it is true that Daemon is just outright faster and physically stronger than the strongest version of Code, we saw the same Claw Grime be able to blitz Boruto, not off guard either, because Boruto was able to block the incoming attack. This means at least he was on guard enough to block, or react to being blitzed. But the speed at which he was blitzed forced him to be thrown into the wall, completely fracturing it. This is the same Boruto who was able to catch Code off guard multiple times and easily incapacitate him with a single Rasengan Uzuhiko. Not to mention, these Claw Grimes are extremely durable, being able to tank a lightning style jutsu from point blank range and come out basically unaffected. So if you combine all these feats from Buggy and the fact that he's just way superior to Code in every aspect, and him having Code Shinjutsu, I'd say Daemon would have way more trouble just keeping up with Buggy, let alone trying to touch him. Daemon's only win condition here is if he's able to touch Buggy, but with him being able to tank almost all of Daemon's physical attacks and him probably being much more durable than Code, we don't know if Daemon actually has the AP to put Buggy down for good. But to give Daemon credit here, he was able to not only react, but catch Kawaki's chakra rods, something only him and Baryon Mode Naruto was able to do. And yeah, those things move at such high speeds that even Sasuke's Sharingan can't follow it. To make this feat even more impressive, on top of the high speeds the rods move at, Ishiki shrunk them down to microscopic sizes until they strike their opponent to make them even more undetectable. So even if you think Daemon is fast enough to counter Buggy or even faster than him, we don't know if his base physical strength will be enough to put it down permanently. But at the same time, I can't say for sure because we literally haven't seen Daemon go 100% yet. To be honest, that's why I think everyone is so excited to finally see Daemon be pushed to use more of his true power, because we never really seen him be challenged before. So I'm excited to see how that match will go. Okay, next, I think I'll go over Sarada versus Hidari. Even though this fight will most likely be longer than Daemon's, there is less to talk about because we haven't seen much of Sarada's new time skip abilities. A lot of people think this should be a solo fight, but there is a high possibility that a Sasuke Claw Grime could prove to be too much for her. I mean, there is no doubt that Sarada has gotten much stronger and faster throughout the time skip, being able to practically one-shot multiple Claw Grimes simultaneously with only one Chidori. She's clearly above Jonin level at this point. However, I really don't have to explain why those feats alone are pointless when discussing whether or not she'll be able to solo a Claw Grime who could copy most of Sasuke's abilities with having 10 tails level of chakra and Code's claw marks with unspeakable levels of speed. I mean, logically speaking, if Bug's Claw Grime clone was not only able to blitz Boruto, but take a direct attack from him and not be phased, while Bug himself not being a shinobi or having any abilities himself, then I suppose a Sasuke Claw Grime clone would be that much stronger, right? I mean, if the Shinju don't have equal stats like I think, then at worst Hidari is like the second strongest Shinju. Which means there's absolutely no scenario where Sarada wins without the use of her Mangekyo Sharingan. So it is good that we will eventually see her MS abilities very soon. I mean, it would just be hilarious if Hidari could also tap into Sasuke's MS abilities as well. At that point, you would just have like two Susanos just casually clashing in the middle of the village or something. There's definitely a scenario where Sarada could win. She would just have to be at her absolute best. But this is the fight I think Boruto joins in. I mean, it'll be hard for him to just stand there and watch knowing his master entrusted the well-being of his daughter to him. Like, don't y'all think? And with Boruto joining in, I think this fight takes a crazy turn in favor of both Boruto and Sarada. I mean, Hidari was so much of a threat, Boruto seemed to only be interested in him. I guess you could probably say it's because he felt Sasuke's chakra inside the claw grind or something like that. But then when asked by Kashin Koji why he attacked him, Boruto stated that he panicked. I mean, if you have a Shinju strong enough to make Boruto come to the conclusion that he needs to dispose of you as soon as possible, then I think you're pretty cracked. Hidari being able to go cancel Boruto's Rasengan Uzuhiko with a single Chidori means at the very least he can match Boruto's base strength. But if Boruto somehow decides he wants to use his karma in this fight, then I can confidently say Boruto and Sarada win convincingly. So Sarada most likely not being on the level of base Boruto will definitely hinder her in this fight. To win, she would most likely have to rely on her MS abilities just being broken. I mean, the fight would definitely be much more fun without Boruto, because with him, the fight leans significantly in their favor. We'll see Sarada finally be pushed to a point where she'd never been, and it could make for some interesting character development. I'm definitely out for it. But her win conditions are very slim, considering the fact we know she can and probably will be caught off guard a few times in this fight, just based off the pure speed of Hidari and him teleporting everywhere using the claw marks. There's also the fact that Sarada did seem worried when Code appeared in the village and when she was surrounded by claw grimes. But I chose not to use this to argue that she was overwhelmed by Code, because it could have just been her being shocked at the fact that Code appeared out of nowhere. But there could be an argument that Sarada did feel overwhelmed in that situation. So if we're to completely lowball, you could say Sarada loses to Hidari solo, but wins if Boruto is helping. But if we're to highball Sarada, she wins but with extreme difficulty. Maybe with the help of some mental amps, I mean just off the fact that Hidari is a clone of her father. Okay, so next it looks like we got Konohamaru in Team 10 versus Matsuri. Okay, off the rip, I'm just gonna say Konohamaru and Shikadai are gonna have to carry the hell out this fight. I'm not gonna have fun explaining this matchup, so I'll make it quick. I already had Konohamaru losing badly if he was to go solo. But that doesn't change much with Team 10 being there. I mean, it's true we don't know how strong they are after the time skip, but bro, I just don't know how to say this. I mean, you would hope Konoha would significantly strengthen their fighting power if they knew a guy like Code was on the loose. But how strong could I make these guys without completely wanking? Okay, so Matsuri is a clone of Moegi, and we know she specializes in earth and water style. And she can also perform wood release. Combine this with having 10 tails amounts of chakra and having Code Shinjutsu, you could definitely make an argument that her wood release has the potential to be on a whole nother level, surpassing someone like Hashirama when it comes to his proficiency with wood style. So the only win condition for Konohamaru is for him to pull out some amazing jutsu or technique we have never seen him use. If he hasn't been training crazy in the last 3 years, he simply loses. To get negged by Jigen in base and expect to do anything with these Shinju without some training or a new power-up, that's insane. That's insane, bro. So lastly, I'm gonna cover what I think will be the best fight in this matchup, and that's gonna be Kawaki vs Jura. Like I said, if there was a way for Jura to somehow get into the Daiko dimension, it'll be because Jura is a Kawaki or Jigen clone, or just slipping a claw mark onto Kawaki and somehow just following him there. He would probably have to force Kawaki to retreat first. But yeah, the only way I could see Kawaki winning is if he uses his karma. I mean, when it comes to base strength, I don't know if I could put him on the same tier as someone like Boruto, but I have to admit, when he taps into the power of his karma, he's undoubtedly top 3 in the verse, being stronger than Jigen and Code with no limiters. The only people who is unclear he could beat at this point is Daemon and Boruto. This is probably the hardest fight to predict since we don't even know who Jura is confirmed to be. I could base this fight off the fact that I think he's a Kawaki clone, but then if it comes out to be someone totally different, then this part of the video is pointless. So I think for now, I'll just state the obvious that this fight will probably go in Kawaki's favor, only if he has his karma activated at full power. Being able to go head to head with Borushiki and bully a pre-awakened Code as soon as he got his karma back, and then having 3 years on top of that to refine and sharpen his abilities, I definitely think Kawaki has the necessary tools to come out on top in this fight. I think he'll be able to overcome anything that Jura throws at him. Even his insane chakra pull from the 10 tails and crazy durability wouldn't be much of a problem. Kawaki definitely has the AP to be able to put Jura down, even with his new heightened abilities. But this is assuming the Shinju don't just evolve mid-fight and somehow get stronger. At that point, you really couldn't put a cap to how powerful they could be. So Kawaki definitely has many win conditions, only with the activation of his karma though. Even if Jura has access to the Daiko dimension, I think Kawaki has the physical stats and both the necessary AP and DC to keep someone like Jura away from Naruto. However, Jura's only win condition is if he gets Kawaki off guard early, or if he is able to evolve off either devouring Naruto or just naturally evolving and gaining knowledge as he fights and interacts with his enemies. So let me know what you guys think about these matchups in the comment section. And let me know if you think someone that I had losing actually wins and vice versa. When chapter 6 drops, we will be reacting to it live on this channel, so subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss that. I had a bunch of fun making this video and it took a lot of time, so if you could kindly drop a like, it would help out a lot. And without further ado, I hope you all enjoyed the video. I'll see y'all boys and girls later. Peace.